Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'll be solving another SQL problem. Problem number 1731, the number of employees which report to each employee. Let's take a look at the problem statement. We are given a table called employees. This table has 4 columns: employee ID, name, reports to, and age. Employee ID is the column with unique values for this table. This table contains information about the employees and the ID of the manager they report to. Some employees do not report to anyone. Reports to is null. Alright, let's take a look at the task. So for this problem, we will consider a manager, an employee who has at least one other employee reporting to them. Our task is to report the IDs and the names of all managers, the number of employees who report directly to them, and the average age of the reports rounded to the nearest integer. We return the table ordered by employee ID. Let's take a look at the example. In this employees table, there are 4 employee IDs: 9, 6, 4, and 2, Hersey, Alice, Bob, and Winston. Hersey has reports to is null. He doesn't report to anyone, but Alice and Bob report to Hersey, right? Winston doesn't report to anyone either, but he is not considered a manager, an employee, because he doesn't have at least one employee reporting to him. So he might be a manager, but he's not an employee. That's why he's not in the output table, where employee ID is 9, name is Hersey, he has 2 people directly report to him, and the average age is the average age of Alice and Bob, which is 41 plus 36 divided by 2. Alright, let's solve this problem. So for this problem, right away we can see that we have only one table, and this table has data that we need to return. They're all in this table. That is the employee, and also we have to find out which of these employees is also a manager. So right away, one of the solutions for this problem is using self-join. Self-join is rather intuitive, so sometimes it can be hard to understand the concept of joining a table, joining to itself. So if you want to practice more self-join, consider doing, there are a lot of problems in Leetcode that require self-join, and self-join is one of the approach to solve this problem, where the data is hierarchical and it's within just one table. So this is a very typical example of self-join. So let's solve this problem using self-join, and because it's rather intuitive, because the table will be joined to itself, we have to name it more descriptive, so that way we know which table refer to which columns we want to retrieve from. So in this case, we'll call one table employee and another one the same table, but we call it manager. So we know that whenever we select the data that related to employee, we're going to get it from employee table. And if we want to get the data for manager, we'll get it from manager table. First, I'm not going to select anything as of yet, but I'm gonna put employee ID as a placeholder, because we will need to put the alias later. So from table employees, and we call this table employee, right? And then we're gonna inner join with employees, and we call this table manager. So this way we are separate this table into 2 parts: the data only about employees that we care about, and the other table we care about the manager information. So employee, I'm going to join on employee dot reports to equal to managers dot employee. So whichever row that is in both of them will be returned. We can also do left join, and then we have to select where the employee reports to is not null. So something like that. So for this one, I'm gonna do inner join. I'm gonna join on employee dot reports to equal to manager dot employee ID. Alright, let's do order by real quick. Order by manager dot, because we will need to order by employee anyway, and as you can see, Hersey is the manager, so we'll get it from manager table. Here we need to see the manager as well, because we want to return manager information, so it's going to be manager employee ID and also manager name. So let's run this real quick to see what the output looks like. Manager. All right, as you can see, Hersey, and we are seeing two rows because if we select employee dot employee ID, we'll see that those are two rows that are associated to Alice and Bob, right? You can see here employee ID of Alice and Bob, and I can go ahead and print employee name as well. As you can see better that those are the two rows. They are not duplicated. They belong to two different employees that report to Hersey. All right, and we need to get the count, which is the count of the employee report to Hersey, which is 2, and the average of their age. So in here, instead of returning the employee ID, we are going to get the count of employee ID as reports count, and employee name, instead of returning name, we're gonna pick the age, and we get the average age. All right, average age of employee age, and we round it to the nearest, so we just do round. And we call this average A. All right, and we need to group by. So in here we group by manager ID, right? Manager.employee ID and manager.name. Okay, let's run that. All right, so my output return Hersey as the only manager that has people who directly report to him. All right, and the number of reports count and their average age. Perfect. So let's submit that. Make sure we don't run into any edge cases. All right, so I passed all the test cases. Runtime 1051 milliseconds, beats 74.86% of users with MySQL. That is it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I see you in another video.